my God. Okay, there we go. Hello, Bree. First one in. What is that emoji? That's a cute little guy. Okay, you can be the first. Is the fan too much? I can turn it down. I set it for 8 a.m. No, that's so funny. You hear nothing? Okay. Sick. That's so funny. Oopsies. That's hilarious. I want to go see if does it still say? Oh, it doesn't say anymore because I'm live now, so that makes sense. How funny. The thing is, I must have not like. That's weird. Like, you know, like when you just, I remember distinctly the drop down menu and hitting 9, but maybe the problem is I didn't like, whatever I did, I didn't like hit save or whatever. It's like I could see it in my brain this morning, but that doesn't mean much because checked it for it. So it's all day. It's just been waiting. Oh my God. That's so funny. Whoops. Hey, sometimes it happens. Also, hi, Sky. Hi. That's so funny. I must have just not hit save. I remember clicking the drop down menu to go click to 9 p.m. And I must not have saved whatever I did. And then it just reverted to like what it pops up as, which I think is 8 a.m. So that tracks. That's really funny. So just all day. Hey, the real ones know when Creepy Book Club is. Oh, stop. Thank you. Like, cut it out. Oh, sorry. Yes, that was my bad. It was going to be March 1st at 2 a.m. Man, I'm like not hitting save anywhere. Okay, so that was my bad. Normally I have it try to be like, it really depends on like how the month like starts and ends. So either like this is gonna be hard to explain. Like it's always a Saturday, so either like the last Saturday of the month, if it's like really close to the end, like it's like the 28th or 29th or something like that, or the first Saturday of like the following month to what the book was, if it's like really early in the month. I don't know if any of that made sense. So what my intended date for this stream would have been February 28th because it's like the last day of February. But I had to push it back. So this was all an exception. And then clearly I just didn't hit save also on that one, just like I didn't hit save on the time for this stream this morning. Thank you. And also welcome back. Time for another discussion of a fucked up read. But fucked up in a very different way. Fucked up in a very different way. Book club does run on vibes. 1000%. Vibes and nothing else. I haven't had dinner, so it's vibes and water right now. And literature. All right. So for anyone who is lurking, I see a couple, which is okay. Just to forewarn you, um, spoilers ahead. So if you were like popping in just to see whether you'd like to read this book, maybe not the best. We are delightful here, so I mean, I would say stick around, but or anyone who decides to watch this back. Spoilers abound. We're gonna dig into it. I also didn't have time to make slides because I finished the last little bit on my way home from work. So I did not have time for slides. I would explode if we didn't talk about the end. Yeah. This whole book was very interesting. Gotta say, loved the like the themes of this. I feel like we don't get like medical horror as much. Like just like in general, I feel like this definitely falls like medical genre feels like a subset of like body horror kind of. Like it definitely falls under that umbrella, but I feel like medical horror is different. Couldn't get into her cave sci-fi horror. Oh, is that the Luminous Dead? I think. So I'm curious about this book. I found one more about some kind of basement door. Don't know if I know that one. Yeah, the ending went in a direction. It certainly did. It really did. And period, because yeah, this book is a unicorn, which is crazy too, because I mean, like, clearly, she's a writer of taste and talent, because I think, oh no, maybe it wasn't in here. I think I saw it. There was like a tiny little interview I read that said it was like partially based, like it was definitely based on her own hospitalization. And then she mentioned like the birth of a child, so it's like it was like partially inspired by that, and like good for her for not making it. Oh, The Last to Leave the Room. I do know that one. I haven't read it, but I know of it. So like good for her for not making it about pregnancy, because yeah. Because it is at least definitely to me it is horrific. And we just read a very horrific pregnancy horror book, so like 2 in a row would have been a little much. Yeah, exactly. Yep. we're connected. We're simpatico right now. Yes. Yeah, might have been a bit much. So yeah, glad it wasn't that. It was still just as like there was a lot of moments with the oh my god, there was like a lot. Yeah. And it wasn't pregnancy horror, but we'll jump right into it, and I don't have the slides to keep me grounded, so this is going to be great. The moment though early on where there's a name for it and I'm not going to remember it, and I kind of flipped to the part in the book to see if it says it. There's a name for it. Oh, something cast, right? When I love talking about this stuff on the internet. It's so fun. When she like fully like passes like her entire uterine lining like in one go, and it's like the shape of your uterus. Something cast, right? I'm scared to Google it because I don't want to get images because it sounds horrific. And when I was reading it, like I thought I was gonna throw up. I was like so surprised. And that was like early on. That's like less than 100 pages in when this happened, and I was like, I want to look it up, but I don't want to get the image. I was really hoping it would say in the book. I feel like it's something cast, but it's a thing. It's a thing, and I'm so glad it's never happened to me because I think I would pass away. No, not after birth. It's like on your it's like your period, but like if your period happened all at one time. Like instead of over a couple of days. I'm gonna look it up. Ugh, I'm scared. Okay. Out all at once. What's it called? Decidual cast. A decidual cast. Yeah. When your uterine lining sheds in one large piece as compared to drips and drops like your menstrual period. So it's like your period happening all at one time. Yes, exactly. Spelled just like that. Decidual cast. Yeah, I was like, please God, no. Like the book, but I built up hope for where it was going, and when it did not go that way, I was disappointed. Did it to myself, but the horror, yeah, I feel like the horror was super effective. Like, let's talk about it, and then we can get into the end for sure. We're gonna have to, but the whole idea of like one, like there's so many things going on in this, like giving, like she gives herself over to like this study, but it's like based on like like her desperation to fix this thing with her, this whatever it's called. I tried to look it up and it only gave me hits for this book, so I think it must be, maybe it was just made up for the sake of this book. Fayette Garrett syndrome. So she's like, she wants to, you know, get help with this thing, and then she becomes like a prisoner at this hospital, and it becomes okay in the afterward. Yeah, I was like, as soon as I googled it, all it was like hits for this book, so I was like, yeah. But it's so interesting to set it in a hospital too, because like you normally think of like a hospital as a place where you're supposed to be like getting help, and the people working there are supposed to care for you, and you know, depending on your gender identity or the color of your skin, that's not always the case. Yeah. So, but it's like the horrors of that though, of like the desperation leading her there, or your weight. Yes, exactly. Period. Or your weight. Yeah. So it's like you're not necessarily getting care, or you're being written off. So I like that this book kind of like amplified that to like the nth degree, like that kind of like disconnect of like a hospital should be a place where you go and like get treatment, you get better, you get whatever to help you, right? But like the way it is, at least in the United States, like hospitals are a business. So ultimately like preying on people for all those different things that we mentioned, also preying on you for your money. So it's like I like that it turned into I guess depending on how we all feel at the ending, I like the whole larger theme of like the hospital kind of being an entity in that, or being a active participant in it. Like the hospital itself, which was really interesting. So I like that. I don't know if that's mentioned in the afterword. If that was, I know like it was inspired by like hospital stays and stuff like that, but so this could just be me like projecting, but I really liked that. I have not been watching The Pit. Illness and body horror were chilling, and the being stuck there. But for me, it's Meg not knowing what the fuck is going on most of the time and not being given satisfying answers. Yes, again, that goes back to like depending on certain identifiers about people, you don't always get the best care, or you get lied to, or like in like horror situations, things done to you that you didn't agree to um when you've gone under, like being sterilized and things like that. So yeah, like when she's looking up um her like medical records like on her phone like early on, and like most of it's redacted, so terrifying. And then time that she spent like unconscious, not knowing what's happening to her ultimately, and then having stuff redacted, it does absolutely add special weight to the dread. And then it just like amplifies by the fact that she's in a hospital. And so this, like, when she's first in there, she's like, the people are there to help me, da 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 da. And is the Pit a hospital show? Just like, I don't like, I know people talk about it, but I haven't like looked into it. Just out of curiosity. There's a woman who is deaf trying to get seen for headaches, but they can't get an interpreter for hours, so she's treated abysmally. Another thing too, like ableism. You're fine. You're fine. You're totally fine. I just haven't. I'm bad with shows. You know this. They always get canceled so soon, so I've been burned before. So I'm always hesitant to start a new show until it's like established a little bit. So I'm always a little bit behind. Always a little bit behind. But interesting that they're like, at least they're like in the show, they're talking about that too, because that's like what this story is all based on. Why am I going like in and out of focus? What is happening? Think about how Meg was so positive the first day-ish when she got there. How quickly it goes downhill too, with like Isabel. Like I feel like Isabel kind of helps that, where she tells her like, you like, if you can't handle it, you should just quit it or something like that. And I feel like she does that kind of early on. And that like one like kind of makes her a little bit more determined and angry, but then also like it plants a seed of doubt, which just starts like, it gets piled onto with like not ever like seeing her doctor. Not ever seeing her doctor. Not getting information, shit being redacted on her medical files. Insane shit. And it just gets like worse and worse. And then when she tries to leave, obviously, they keep her there by telling her she has tuberculosis and she can't leave. Yeah, Isabel. You think about Isabel in that relationship overall. It was definitely interesting. I feel like it was kind of like intentional to like where their relationship kind of like, I guess kind of like dances the line, I guess. Like, I don't want to say like to what's appropriate or not, but like Isabella is supposed to be like caring for Meg in a professional sense, like it's her job. But then also she, and it seems like genuinely she does care, like one of those people like that really care about their job in that sense. But then with her knowing what's happening, it's really interesting because it's like they make it like she knows things, she does know things, and I feel like that's why she tells Meg to like, you should, like, if you can't handle it, you should go, and is like trying to give her like an out. But ultimately everything that happens still happens. I agree. Did get a queer vibe, a messy one. Yeah, it was definitely, yeah, she held stuff back from Meg. You can see why Meg would be upset, but also understand why she did it. It's true. It was really messy. Like, really, really messy. And then there's like the level 2 where I think Meg just wanted somebody to like give a fuck. And I think there's like a huge element there, like not only with her interactions with Isabel, but with her with her interactions with Adam. Like Meg just wants somebody to like take care of her or care about her. Like she's so isolated already. Like even going into this, like we know she doesn't have like a super close relationship with her mother. Like they don't talk really that much. She lives on her own. She sells her apartment to go do this thing. So she's super isolated already. She strands herself, and it's like she just wants somebody to like care. And so I think like the way she like kind of craves when Isabella and Adam show up, like really shows that. Like when she tells Adam she doesn't have anyone to call and he literally can't understand the concept and doesn't really believe her, as if lonely people don't exist. Yeah, as if it's not incredibly easy to do. Said all of her relationships went downhill. Yeah. So she's like really isolated. And it's because of, you're right too. Yeah. And I almost forgot about that as I was like talking about this. You're absolutely right. And she like attributes it to the Fayette Garrett syndrome also. Like, because she, because, maybe she's not like feeling well and can't really go out, and then friendships fall off or things get like, they just get difficult to maintain. She feels like a burden. Maybe there are some people that aren't as nice about it to her. So which like speaks to like definitely speaks to an idea of like being like chronically ill, or going through something that's really intense like that. That it's like really like important to kind of have a support system, and like this is why. Just if for nothing else, to have somebody on the outside like advocating for you as well. Because like Meg's such a good example of like somebody who is like really easy to take advantage of for this. Very good at pushing people away. It's a constant battle to stop myself from self-sabotaging. So I totally identified with that, even though I don't have a physical illness like her. Yeah. It's like, it's definitely something like, it was like, it is like super easy to relate to, like whether if you have a chronic illness or not, because it's really easy to do. I feel like it's really easy to do also in the internet age as well, to push people away or to isolate yourself and be more lonely. Sorry, my mouth is very dry today. I'm going to take constant sips of water. But it makes it so easy to take advantage of her in this sense as well, because like she's desperate to not like feel awful all the time, or to so she can like, I don't like live her life, She's desperate, she's isolated, she's lonely. We can absolutely shit on Adam. Let's go. Fucking piece of shit. Yes. And some people just get tired of you being sick and resent you for it. Many disabled folks have had that kind of experience. Yes. That's what, like, I feel like, especially like the beginning of this book, and I don't know, I'm excited to talk about the ending. We'll shit on Adam first. But this book, like, despite it being like so specific, I feel like in its setting and topic, like it's stuff that like can appeal to like even broader categories. So not just like chronic illness, but like other disabilities or like physical disabilities, anything like that, mental disabilities. Like it's like it just speaks on so many levels. I feel like it was like really well done for how specific it is. I needed to know what he was putting in her food because it was clearly drugged. Yeah, like everything they were fucking doing to her. Yeah, the flowers. I thought there was something going on with the flowers as well because that was like a recurring thing. The like, especially the repetition of the line, like, "Oh, he brings you flowers too," or something like that, or whatever it is. Like Veronica says to her. So I thought there was going to be something with the flowers as well. Yeah, but who knows? I mean, they were like pumping her with so many things. And it feels like an extra violation too to like put it in food that like because she does mention like when she's kind of like describing this illness that she has, like it does mess with like what she can eat and stuff like that, I think. So like putting it in food, which is like another just like comforting thing, like a soothing kind of thing, and then to do something to like hurt her ultimately in the end. Also thought we were gonna find out what the weirdly off limits courtyard with flowers is gonna be special poison flowers or something, but they never went back to that. True. That's true. Maybe it's just like just a yet another like layer to the like people showing kindness who don't actually have your best interests at heart, or maybe like I don't want to say like the emptiness of the gesture of like bringing flowers, but it's usually seen as a nice gesture, but in this case it's like it feels sinister maybe because of who it is. Adam had no business being in a room after the first day. Yeah, because you're right. He is the sales guy. Like he's not a doctor. He's just pushing this swale treatment thing. Which makes it all the more sinister, which I like again, I feel like goes back to like hospitals and like the whole medical industry being a business and not actually being about helping people. It's about selling shit. It's about selling shit under the guise of helping people, and taking advantage of people, which is exactly what he's doing. Like he's this seemingly like really nice guy, brings her nice food, brings her flowers. Like it's all this act of like, yeah, I'm like the representative for this thing, but I actually care about you. And I actually care about you getting better. You know, I want this to work for you because it'll help other people, blah, 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 blah. And it's all bullshit. All absolute bullshit. You think when he got violent, that was actually a hallucination? Ooh. Or was it a memory that broke through from the drug induced blackouts? I don't know. Hey, Des. I just kind of accepted, like, with the hallucinations and like the time unconscious and things like that, that we might not fully know like what's real and what's not. So I don't know. It definitely seems like in character though. You know what I mean? Like he's projecting as this really nice, like caring guy, but like ultimately, like under the like just right under the surface, he just really wants to push this thing and really wants to do this thing to her. So I could see it. I could see it being real. You know what I mean? Like the mask kind of falls a little bit in that moment. It's like he knows she's going to endure a lot, so he has to keep selling it even after she's already said yes to the treatment. Make sure she keeps going. Yeah. and like really selling it in like an icky, disgusting way, because he like introduces her to Veronica, who then promptly dies. And then they hide that fact from her. So it's yet another deception. And it's like another scary thing where it's like, hey, so this is like, you sold this as a success story. And then come to find out it's like such a small pool of people so far. I think she finds out it's like 6 people or something, or 7 people, and 3 of them have died. So it's like her chances are, at that moment she's thinking her chances are really fucking slim. I guess the question is, does it matter what's real and what's not? Because all that is relevant is what Meg experiences. That's true. Doesn't matter what's real or what's not. Interesting. I guess in this case, again, it just kind of like, it helps push her in that direction of like not trusting. So like, real or not, I think it matters for sure. Because either way, because then there's like the whole thing too with like, I guess let's like get into the end. Like Des shows up and we're like, let's get into the end. Yeah, girl's going through it either way. She straight up gets told, you gotta stop fighting and just suffer through it passively, sweetie. Yeah. Absolutely. But I guess we can jump right into the end then too. Like, speaking of like what's real, what's not real, like that whole like ending sequence in Isabel's room with like seeing there's like the Isabel on the bed, and then there's like the Isabel in front of her, which is then like cycling through these different identities, where it's like Isabel, what is it, like Isabel patient, and then the pathogen. Real or not real? Because that whole that whole part was fucking insane. Fucking insane. I think initially my first thought was just like trying to think of it like metaphorically, like what is this just saying about like maybe illness, viruses, pathogens, because there's definitely like a COVID element to this also that we can speak to, right? Viruses like continuing to like live on, mutate, evolve. So it was like and the way we like talk about stuff like that, especially like a COVID or something like that, just to use that as an example, it does feel like an entity in and of itself. Like, so I thought that was a really interesting representation. I thought that was like a really like crazy way to represent it. Really like scary, crazy way to represent it. The sentient pathogen, best character, and I wish it was more of a character ever since it apparently spoke through Meg, asking permission to live in her. Yeah. Fucking crazy. And then all of it you could just, because like I guess that's like the beauty of like not being told straight up like what is happening in like a book or a movie or whatever have you, because you can decide to interpret it however you want. So it's like you could go the route of like everything was like a hallucination or a result of like the drug she was being given, and then her growing distrust of what's happening, like especially seeing like her body deteriorating, so to where she creates this like she creates this hallucination of this like sentient pathogen that's like wanting to live in her body. Because maybe that's what it feels like. to be like trapped in a situation like that, to be, you know, to have, if it's like a chronic illness or whatever it is, like it's not to bring it to pregnancy, but that the author has said that was partially an inspiration. Um, like not like seeing your body, like having no control over your body like that, like making it like an outside like force is really interesting to me. If I wanted to go the route of like nothing was real and it was all like it just got more and more hallucinatory because that's just where it went. Or we could go with the fact that it is 100% real, and then it kind of becomes like not only a body horror but kind of like a monster horror a little bit in a really interesting way. Meg says a few times it can't possibly have been real, but then brings up stuff that should not have been possible if it was not real. True. I choose to believe a mix of real and not real. I think you could go any way with it. So that's absolutely valid. I think definitely Meg, unreliable narrator, especially given the ending. And this is being told, like she's like at certain moments, she's like speaking to us. And she's like telling this in retrospect. And then we see where she ends up at the end, like how like I'm talking like very like last page, how it ends. Unreliable narrator, to be sure, I think. Learned helplessness was a key theme here. It's insidious, except because you have no other choice. That's true. That again, we were talking about before you got here, like how she's taken advantage of as well. And I think the learned helplessness goes in with that because she's very like isolated and doesn't have anyone like really advocating for her. So like absolutely. And I think that like she fully says this as well. I think it's like at the start of a chapter here. Yeah, the beginning of chapter 12, because it's right after we were talking about the decidual. Well, I brought it up, the decidual cast scene. So literally the beginning of the next chapter, right after that. Have you ever heard of learned helplessness? That's how the chapter starts off. Again, because she's telling this in retrospect, so she's going over like everything that happened and her in hindsight being 2020, I guess. So noticing all these things that led to where she ends up. So absolutely. Mega's lost autonomy and dignity the moment she signed up. And it's the worst thing when you stick people treat you like your opinions and judgments are not worth much. Yeah. Yeah, when you're sick, yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. They definitely like are gaslighting her a lot too, into that, like telling her like certain things are like side effects to drugs, or you know, and who knows, like if the nurses too are like saying like, well, this happened and she doesn't know if it happened or not. So making her question like, well, maybe again going into that learned helplessness, like, well, maybe my judgment isn't the best, so I should just listen to these people. So does the fact that she's telling it in retrospect and able to cohesively tell the story mean that the protocol worked eventually? It definitely kind of feels that way. I don't know if I'm on board with like able to cohesively tell the story. I still think it's like a little some real, some not real. It feels like, I don't know, the ending, the feeling I got at the end, just for me, I guess, is that it worked. Like it feels like it worked just based on, yeah. Because she's still there. Yeah, and they say, like she says, there are no choices left. Today, Adam says, we begin to rebuild you. Today, we start making you better. Today, we start cultivating your recovery. But I'd like your permission to use what we've learned to try something new. And he places paperwork on my tray, a pen. Eventually, I sign. Like, so I think, like, whatever his goal was, I think it was achieved. And that's the question, though, too. Do you think Adam was truthful when he said Isabel was alive and expecting a full recovery? Personally, I don't. Just based on they definitely lied before. They definitely lied many, many times, especially about people being alive. They've lied. Although I don't know fully how blood transfusions work. I don't know if like her doing that could have given Isabel the Fayette-Garrett's syndrome, which makes her an ideal candidate for the swale thing, because that was like a requirement. It was like they found that it worked differently in those patients. So I don't know if it would like be that quick. I don't trust Adam. So my instinct is to think no, she is not alive, but interpreters her talking to herself to remind herself who she is, as outwardly by the end she is nonverbal and seems to no longer be there. Yeah, especially given what we saw with like again the kind of three entity thing of like Isabel, patient, and pathogen. I don't think she's fully there either at the end. I don't think it's fully Margaret at the end, personally. I think he was lying through his stupid teeth. Yeah, I don't. The book gives us no reason to trust what he says. Even if he was telling the truth, he can't be trusted because he exactly. Yeah, even if he was telling the truth, yeah, I don't think I would ever like after everything that happens in the novel. If we learn anything, is to not trust that man. Also, Isabel was like, "We don't have compatible blood," so ooh, yeah. But also that. Because there was like the three things happening and like the patient version allowed it to happen. Also, the pathogen didn't stop it from happening. Although Margaret does mention like the pathogen doesn't like, or at least her understanding, I guess. Again, being told in retrospect, so I think she knows. I think she has intimate knowledge now that the pathogen doesn't plan things, it just is inhabiting the body. I think it's just there and like living in there, but it's not like thinking or plotting. I have to remind myself that too, like knowing that the book is told in retrospect. Yeah, I don't think it's fully Isabel. I don't think it wasn't. Yeah, it wasn't fully Isabel. I don't think it's fully Margaret at the end either. That was also a crazy scene. I feel like for me, it was like the decidual cast and then the blood transfusion. Where I was like physically freaking out. Ooh, yeah. That would be a horrifying fucking drawing. horrifying. Okay, so since you guys like kind of mentioned the ending right at the beginning, what did you guys think of the ending? I know Ian, you kind of already mentioned that it kind of like it was good, and then the ending kind of maybe was a little bit of a drop off. What do we think? And then how did that affect like over your overall thoughts on the book? think that's why the ending felt like such a letdown, to go from rogue, weird, possessed floor transfusion to okay, let's keep going, as if nothing that happened mattered. I like, oh, sorry, I was going for Des. I like it. It was horrifying and seemed inevitable. Thought it was a bit anticlimactic due to all the buildup. Okay. Interesting. Yeah, it was super interesting. I don't know fully how I feel about it. It is bleak. I think intentionally so. It's bleak because Margaret was like, I guess if we were to believe, because like she did go through like all of this like swale stuff up until that point, but she was almost out of that hospital. I don't know if she would have actually been able to like leave, or if the pathogen would have been able to spread still somehow. She was still extremely sick. So I don't know, but it's like, it's her kindness at the end, like, and her guilt definitely towards what happened to Isabel that like drives her back to go try and save her, which like lands her in this situation in the first place. And I think like what happens with Isabel with the transfusion, I think it kind of breaks Margaret a little bit. So it felt very like, not like, kind of like she gave up a little bit. Kind of like she gave up. Because it was like she tried to save her, didn't work in a really horrifying, like disturbing way, like with Isabel like screaming bloody murder in pain. Honestly felt like she didn't know how to end the story. Maybe it was like a roller. It was like going through so like much that like maybe like where else could it go? Hard to figure out. I expected some transformative shit, maybe some kind of symbiosis with the pathogen or something. True. Yeah, it is very much just like, it's like inside and it just makes you like really, really sick like that, and it doesn't like transform you in that way. It almost feels like too real, which I think to me made it like really scary, that it's like you definitely could like go a body horror element where it like transforms you. And I guess we do see a little bit with the Isabel trifecta. We do see that a little bit, but I got whelp that happened, and now I'm confined and surveilled 24/7, and I'm waiting to see if I'll make it. In my view, she had lost all agency when she was admitted. She was never getting out alive, so it was just a matter of how bad it could get. I don't think it could have ended any other way. That's true. Yeah, it felt very much like, yeah, again, I come back to learned helplessness as a major theme. Yeah. Like it feels like an inevitable thing. I think if you are to the point where you're going to transfuse your blood into an unconscious body while a pathogen speaks to you, you're already broken. Yeah, a little bit. Now that I'm thinking about it, if this was inspired by her mom's struggle, I'm sure when she died after being sick for so long, it probably felt like, oh, that's it. Yeah, I couldn't help. And I'm going to try and say it without crying. I couldn't help but think about my mom while reading this also. And especially that end. Oh no. Okay. I thought I froze for a second. That pulled me out of it a little bit. Okay, great. I don't think I'll cry. But that like, especially that ending where it's like, it's just, there's like an inevitable end to it. And it does feel kind of like mundane, and like, well, now that's over. Now that's over, and that's how it ends. Like, because sometimes it does, sometimes it is, and it's not fair. I'm gonna cry. I gotta stop talking about, like, it's not fair, and it's not pretty and not everybody. That's why I have tissues right by my allergies and tears. But yeah, so it's like I don't want to say like I liked the ending, but I felt the ending. You know what I mean? But sometimes it doesn't end. Doesn't end nicely, but it does end. Made that through really without crying. Good for me. Yeah, that's what I feel like kind of was the point. Yeah. We always like to see like something nice happen at the end, but we're reading a horror novel, so it's like not always the nicest endings. We don't always get the best endings. Didn't like it. Ooh, okay. Like fully didn't like it, or just like mostly didn't like it when you read it. This conversation warmed me up to it. Yeah, this was a tough read for me in a lot of ways. Not just like the medical stuff. I was thinking about my mom a lot while reading it. Oh, just the end. Got it. Okay. Understood. Yeah, there are no happy endings in Creepy Book Club. I swear I have a cozy horror planned for July. It's going to be the decision I shoehorn in. I don't know if it's going to have a happy ending, but it's like billed as a cozy horror. So, I felt less harsh on it after reading the afterword. That's always like an interesting. I usually I don't always read the afterword right after because I kind of like to sit in my feelings about the book first, and then I'll I'll go back to the afterword. I cut it very fine to the wire this time, so normally like after a day or two I'll go back and read like the afterword and read any like interviews or anything like that too, and then get like the author's perspective a little bit. You keep promising I do not believe you. Just you wait. I'm gonna really have to do my research though, because just because the internet says a book is something, can't always trust the internet. Bloom is also classified as cozy horror, and that ended with a double amputation. I don't want to say what it is, just in case. I'll do my research first. I don't know. It looks very cozy. I'm gonna find one. And it's going to be this comment that drives it. Okay. I loved Bloom. I thought Bloom was great. Quick read. Like it could be a single sitting read for sure. It's like lesbian cottagecore, but like make it horrifying. Cottagecore sapphics, but make it horrifying. I mean, it technically was a spoiler, but it was like a zero context spoiler. Well, technically a spoiler, but you didn't give any context to it. Oh, there you go. And then you'll forget. You'll forget anyway. And then the thing will happen. And you'll be like, oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay, so what else did you guys read this month? Oh, wait, no, sorry. Wait, what did we rate it? Sorry. Pause. What did we rate it? I waited to log it on Storygraph because I kind of haven't decided. But I think I'm leaning towards like a 4. Maybe a 4.25. Okay, 4.5. 4.25. That's what I'm kind of deciding between a 4 and a 0.25. And then a 3.75 to 4. Okay. We're all kind of like in the same range. It's very I feel like that happens a lot. It's very rare when we're like super divided. We're just like we're so in sync here. Like weirdly, just with the numbers, I feel like our opinions do differ, and then we like somehow come together at the end with our with the number ratings. It's very interesting. So we're all kind of in the same. We're all kind of in the same range. And so again, not that bad. Not that bad. Guys, I fear that we pick bangers all the time. Okay, there we go. Now I'll put this up. Now I'll put this up. February is inventory season at the Barnes and Noble. So I had a slow reading month. The only other thing I read was a nonfiction. So I did get a nonfiction in. I feel proud of myself there. I read Unlikable Female Characters, which was a really fun read. I love a good like nonfiction, kind of like sociology, media studies, film studies. Love. Oh, what did you think of Bury Our Bones? What did you think? What did you think? What did you think? What did you think? That was one where it's like, and that one's such a long book, but the ending was very interesting to me. Oh, why I love horror. I think I've purchased this. Hold on, I'm just looking up the cover. I did purchase this like recently. I was going through, I think it was like the long list for an award, Edgar Award. I think that's right. That like awards like horror and like thriller genre. So I was like looking through the long list of stuff and just kind of picking out stuff that looked interesting to me. So I did buy this like semi recently. I'm excited to get into it. Really liked it. It was epic. Like a sapphic vampire epic. It was so good. Read One Last Stop by Casey McQuiston. The newer Haley Kiyoko sapphic romance. Sorry, did you not Girls Like Girls? Oh my god, this one! I forgot about this. Never mind. I know this book. Sorry. The cover art is so, not that the art has to stay the same for everything. It was just so like radically different from Girls Like Girls that I always forget. When I see the book, I'm always like, Haley Kiyoko. Biggest rec from Feb reads is Hunger and Thirst by Claire Fuller, which doesn't come out till fall, but it had an arc and it was so good. Okay. We'll put it on the TBR. It was excellent. Really like the vampire lore. Same. Oh, Hazelthorne. My one of my coworkers, she is like the definition of a book collector. Like when she loves a book, like I'm telling you, she buys it in different languages. She will buy arcs like online and stuff like that. But what happens is normally like her shelves get too overflowed because she has multiple copies of stuff. And she was like kind of cleaning out her shelves, and she had happened to take the arcs of Don't Let the Forest In and Hazelthorne. It's actually weirdly sitting next to me right now. And she was like, I know you also really like C.G. Drew's. Do you want the arcs? And I was like, fuck yeah, give me the arcs. So I weirdly have a not as pretty as the actual book because it's an arc, but I do have an arc of Hazelthorne. So I'll probably read from that and then get the hardcover as the trophy. I also did buy the paperback of Don't Let the Forest In, even though I have the hardcover, because it came out with like a gorgeous stenciled edge. I couldn't not. I simply couldn't not get it. It's too good. It's too good, too good, too good. First impression, it's like queer plant horror. Oh, okay. I did put it on. I made at work. I made a whole end cap. Horrifying horticulture, I called it. I was very proud of that. And I did put "Don't Let the Forest In" and Hazelthorn on there. Super duper proud. I had so many, so much alliteration in that sign. Like, it was making my coworkers like absolutely roll their fucking eyes at me, but it was worth it. I have 2 copies of Frankenstein. I think that's my only double. I have too many. I also have far too many books. There are some that I will collect simply because I do love them so. I collect a lot of Edward Gorey, so I have quite a lot of that. It's like some of the only things I collect some like Shirley Jackson if I see like fun old copies, like older copies, older editions. And as absolutely fucking problematic as he is, I do have some really old like Edgar Allan Poe stuff. Not the most problematic of like older like classic horror authors, but as long as H.P. Lovecraft exists, there's always going to be somebody far more problematic. Me pre-ordering the Barnes & Noble edition of Heated Rivalry. Can I tell you just a stupid funny story? The new one that got announced got pushed back, by the way. I was so excited to like potentially do a midnight release for that this year. But now we have to wait till June of next year for it. It's called Unrivaled, and my brain, every time I want to say it, and now it's bled into, if I try to say Heated Rivalry, I keep calling it Unheated Rivalry. Like I'm just blending them together. Nobody would want to read a book called Unheated Rivalry, but that's what I call it. And which one am I referencing? You'll never know. It could be either one. It could be Heated Rivalry. It could be Unrivaled. The amount of time when that book was announced, like the week that was announced to us, and we like got the announcement on our like company thing, the amount of times I said Unheated Rivalry was that's the like PG version where they've taken out all the spice and everything, and it's Unheated Rivalry. Yeah. And you'll never know which one I'm talking about. So that was just a funny little thing. But yeah, I'm so glad though. I'm so glad that the publisher finally got it. Finally got shit in. Oh my god. That's like I think that's got to be like one of the longest waits to get like restock in for a book that was like so insanely popular. I was like worried. I was like, we're never gonna have this book in again. And like as soon as we got it in, it would get snatched up. And it's like we never had it for more than 30 minutes. Unheated Friendship, all about Shane and Rose hanging out and being cool. Hell yeah. Hey, I would read that. Like a little novella or something. Would love that. Little companion book to the series. We should pitch that. We should pitch that to Rachel Reed. Oh, worked at Borders during the 50 Shades. Damn. I can't imagine. I can't imagine. Although I feel like I've lived so many different ones now because the way with like TikTok and everything, like the way social media is now, like the way things go viral, like every other week. It's kind of crazy. It's kind of crazy. But yeah. So yeah, that was all I read. I read this and Unlikable Female Characters. It was pretty good. I liked it. And it has like a giant watch list of movies at the end, which I thought was fun. Honestly, yeah. Well. I was gonna say yeah, and then there's a couple of things that came to my mind. I was like, well, mostly yes. Unfortunately, I do have to sell certain books that I'd rather not sell, but you know, that's just the opinion of little old me, I guess. But from a company standpoint, yes, whatever gets more people buying books. But if we can't keep them in stock, but damn, it's been a minute since I've seen something sell out like that. Okay, well, I guess I should talk about too. What the fuck are we? It's not next month's read. It's this month's read, which is this month's read. Hello, Model Home by River Solomon. Kate has told us that this is a bleak one, but I can't help but be excited to get into it because I've been wanting to read a River Solomon book. There's ones. Oops, that is not what I wanted to press to get that to go away. There we go. We have multiple at work, and they're always like calling to me, and I'm like, I don't know which one. So I shoehorned this. That was my shoehorn in. I think actually no, that was my only shoehorn in. I think was Model Home. You're gonna eat your words in July. You're gonna be so fucking cozy reading the book I have planned for July. You're not gonna know what to do with yourself. Yes, so it's supposed to emotionally devastate us, which is different for us. That's not something we're used to here. So we're going out of our comfort zone a little bit, guys, gals, party people. Rename us to Bleak Book Club. I'll tell you right now, that fits us. I could never say that. That time I just said it is the only time I would be able to say that all the way through without fucking that up. Bleak Book Blub. Or I'd say like Beak Book Club. I was just trying to say Beak Book Club. And that just happened. Beak Book Club. Yeah. That's the secret name. That's the secret name of this book club is Bleak Book Blub. Blob for sure. I love it. Love it. Easy to say. Love. The blob. Beware of the blob. It's gonna make us fucking cry. Well, I appreciate you guys hanging out. I'm gonna end this so I can get out of this room because it's hot in here. It's gonna be fixed on Monday. It is so hot in here right now. So I'm gonna get out of this room and go stand closer to that. I'll bring that fan with me. I'm gonna go stand closer to it, maybe in front of the freezer or something. But thank you for another amazing discussion. Excited to be emotionally devastated with you guys again in a month-ish. It'll be a little shorter than a month this time. But thank you so much for hanging out. And I'll see you soon. Don't ever apologize to me. You don't have nothing to apologize for. It's okay. Good night / good day to Des. Bye.